welcome to Crafting a Country Life. I have some ideas to share with you today that I have been actually working on a little bit here and there during the week. And this is all about what to do with your branding strip scraps. And you know, we all have those. I have a whole box full here. And I keep my branding strip scraps in this little tray that I got at, I think at Hobby Lobby. Well, no, it might have been Michael's. Anyway, it's a tray that's just about the right size to hold the branding strips. And the branding strips that come at the top of your paper crafting papers in the pads, you know, the 12-inch size pads will give you approximately a 6-inch branding strip, you know, on either side of the hole. So I just break those apart or cut them apart and toss them into the box. And then the smaller 6x6-inch pads give you, you know, because again, you've got that hole in the middle, you can use either side of the hole to make smaller projects with. So I just, anyway, toss them into the box, and when I have a nice big bunch of them, I sit down, and it's actually very therapeutic. I just put some music on in my craft room, and I sit and glue them together. Generally on a piece of paper or cardstock. I've also used receipts. You know, you can save your craft receipts. And this is a lighter weight paper, which is nice too. And you can just glue the branding strips onto the receipt itself, and then, you know, cut them up afterward to use in different projects. So what I've got here, these, here's a piece that I had put together on a piece of scrap cardstock. And I take the strips and I just glue them. I butt them up end to end. I've been using the Elmer's Craft Bond. I mean, if you have a favorite glue that you like, use whatever you find works well. I like this one. It seems to last quite well and does a good job adhering the pieces down. And then while it's still a tiny bit sticky, you can, if you get a little bit on there, you can just take your finger and rub it off. It comes right off, you know, so that you don't get any smudges on the surface. So, you know, I'll take a piece of cardstock, and you can see here, I cut this tag out of this piece, but this is basically what I started with. You know, and I'll just glue the branding strips on. I like to take these edges. Sometimes they have the little perforations. I don't know if that's really going to show on camera, but the little perforations are there, and I like to trim those off first before I start gluing, and I try to get them as precise as I can so that they're nice and straight and they butt up against each other without having any gaps in between them. And I just go ahead and, you know, glue them down, choose the patterns that I like that work well together. You can do these in any theme. You can do them for spring, summer, fall. You can do Christmas themes, you know, whatever you choose that you have branding strips from, paper pads from. So I thought these coordinated nicely from my scrap bin, and I glued them down. Then of course you can just go ahead and run your die, you know, through your die cutting machine. So I made this little tag. And I've left these items purposely unembellished just so that you could see the technique and how pretty it really looks. Isn't that a great background? You know, you could put rosettes on there and other, you know, labels or whatever you want to put. So that's the first one there. And then I did a larger one. This one actually was even wider than this, and I used the 6-inch branding strips to do this paper, and then I cut a slice of it off so that I could create this here. So once you create these sheets, you can cut them up and, you know, rearrange them almost like quilt blocks. The only thing you need to watch for, because the branding strips are not always exactly the same width, they're about 1/2 inch. But you have to give or take a little bit because sometimes they vary. So what I like to do is make sure, I use a ruler to make sure that I am cutting the pieces out exactly the same size. So for example, these are exactly 2" by 2" blocks. And then I just alternated them and glued them onto my background. Now for this one, I used this pretty ruffled die set that I've had for a number of years. I got this on AliExpress, and it has a pretty ruffle. This also comes in a circle and an oval shape as well. If you're interested in this die, you could just do a search and see if you can find them that way. If I had the information, I would give it to you, but I just don't remember even what store I got them from. So I used that as the background with some white cardstock, and it makes this pretty ruffle, as you can see. And then what I did is I used my ruler to mark exactly the center in both directions. And I just put a pencil mark, and then I laid the pieces on there to make sure that they were the same size, and there wasn't any overhang anywhere that where the seams meet. And then I tried it before I glued it. I tried the pieces on there to make sure that they all lined up correctly around the edges, and then I put some glue on there. But before I pressed them down onto the surface, I made sure that, again, everything was lined up accurately before I pressed them down. That way, the glue is still wet and you have a little bit of wiggle room. You can adjust them a little bit with your fingers before you press them down securely. But I just love this. Now, again, I left them unadorned so that you can see, what these look like when you glue them together. And then, of course, I can use this for a card front. It can go on the front of an album, and I can decorate this with layering, paper piecing. I can put labels on there, stickers, backgrounds, or whatever I choose, and then go from there. But aren't these really pretty? And it's so much fun going through the bin and choosing the colors and patterns that you think look nice together. It's just, I think it's very relaxing. So there's that. And then this one here has kind of a chevron pattern to it. And you can see again on some cardstock. And then for this one, I didn't do it for this. This was the first one that I made using this pattern. And I found that because I didn't put like a pencil line going right directly up the center, my chevron where the V meets here, it kind of goes off a little bit in this direction through the center. I don't know if you can see that. Okay. So it meets in the center here, but then as you move up, it's just a little bit off where the centers are meeting. It's not quite in the center of the width of this cardstock, but no matter. I mean, I'm going to be using this to cut apart into different pieces, and then maybe alternating these again to do some kind of quilt block effects. So I'm looking forward to trying this one out. But I really love this. It's such a fun and unique kind of a way to use up scraps that you would otherwise just throw in the trash. Yeah. So that's my project share for today. It's more of just an idea session than a finished product, kind of a video. So I hope you enjoyed watching that, and maybe give it a try sometime when you have yourself a nice collection of these beautiful branding strips. And I'm actually thinking I may try some holiday ones, some Christmas holiday. I have a lot of papers in here that are scraps from Christmas paper pads that would look really cute put together. So take care. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and we'll see you back again really soon. Bye for now.